3:07 a.m., and from room 307, another scream echoed. Just let that sink in for a second, you know? Imagine the absolute dead of night, the kind of silence that literally feels heavy in your ears, suddenly shattered by a sound that chills you right to the bone. No warnings, no explanation whatsoever, just a scream that marks the end of something, or someone.
Now, today's explainer isn't about wild internet theories. We're walking straight into the dark reality of an old college hostel in India, a place meant for studying and, late-night snacks, which instead harbored a room so cursed that no student who stayed there ever lasted more than a few days. We're going to break down exactly what happened in room 307, because honestly, understanding the structure of this mystery is what makes it so deeply unsettling. The Curse of Room 307, an unsolvable mystery. You see, the horror of Room 307 operated with this deadly clockwork precision. Every single night, at exactly 3:07 a.m., an inescapable dread consumed whoever was inside. First, management dismissed the deaths as tragic coincidences. Then, as rumors started swelling, they blamed cruel senior pranks and eventually academic suicides. But then came the unseen CCTV footage. Whatever the hallway cameras captured was so impossible, so horrifying, that they literally buried the tape, evacuated the building entirely, and permanently locked the door. The warden's final warning, a fatal mistake. So enter Arav. He just wanted to save some money and actually took the cheapest room available. But right before he took the key, the warden gave him one chilling, hyper-specific warning. Son, if there's a knock at 3:07 in the night, do not open the door. Arav? Well, he just laughed it off as a typical hazing ritual. And that assumption, that's what sealed his fate.
Exactly 3:07 a.m., the entity approaches.
Arav was fast asleep. But then, his eyes snap open. From the other side of his thin wooden door, tock, tock, tock. At exactly 3:07 and 0 seconds, a suffocating silence hits the building. 15 seconds later, the fan dies, and his phone loses all signal. He's completely cut off. At 30 seconds past the minute, the room plummets to freezing. And at 45 seconds, a second violent knock demands entry. Arav creeps out of bed, his heart just pounding in his chest. He presses his face to the cold wood and looks through the tiny peephole, totally expecting to see a group of laughing seniors. But the corridor was completely empty. No footsteps, just a long, dark, vacant hallway. Don't look under the bed, the final mistake. Arav is staring into that empty hallway when his phone screen suddenly, violently lights up the pitch-black room. It's an unknown number. One message. Don't look under the bed. The horror isn't outside anymore, guys. It's in the room with him. Shaking uncontrollably, driven by some dark compulsion, he slowly lowers his head toward the floor, and peering out from the shadows beneath his mattress, glowing eyes stare right back. Arav falls backward, scrambling in breathless panic. The room's lights glitch and wildly pop, and from beneath the bed, a voice that doesn't sound human at all rasps, "Why didn't you open the door?" Two voices in the dark, the aftermath. When the sun finally rose, the nightmare for the management was really just beginning. Arav didn't come out. When they finally forced the door open, they found it was locked from the inside. They scrambled to cover it up, coldly classifying him as a runaway student. But the terrifying truth was, Arav was never found. No belongings moved. The whole shebang was left exactly as it was. He was just gone, swallowed by the room. Now, room 307 remains locked to this very day, but students in the adjacent rooms will tell you the haunting has evolved. At exactly 3:07 a.m., they don't just hear the entity trying to get in anymore. Through the walls, they hear two distinct sounds. First, a heavy, dark voice knocking from the inside, and a second voice sounding desperately like Arav, begging for someone to let him out. It's a terrifying loop, forever frozen behind a locked door. So, I leave you with this. If you wake up tonight, the room goes freezing cold, your phone loses all signal, and at exactly 3:07 a.m. there is a slow, heavy knock on your door. Would you open it?